and welcome to another lawnfawn video. Today we are so excited to be introducing our brand new die set Christmas stocking. We're also going to take a look at the brand new Nordic Snowflake border. This border is so beautiful. And we're going to take a look at our String of Lights background stencils. This is a set of 3 stencils that helps you create the most gorgeous background of Christmas lights. We're also going to take a look at the brand new Pick Up Pokey Tool and the wax tips replacements for it. And the Pick Up Pokey Tool is so awesome. It has our logo and these cute little green gems in the middle, and one end has the pickup end and the other end has the pokey end. And so here you can see the pickup end, and then here is the pokey end. The pickup end is great for picking up little pieces, and the pokey end is great for poking your die cuts out of your dies. And I love that each end has a cap, especially for that sharp end, so that you can make sure that you don't poke yourself with the pokey tool. So here is a really intricate snowflake die that is stuck into my die here. And so what I'm going to do is just do the pokey tool right through the little holes in the die, and that's going to help me pop out my beautiful snowflake die cut. I can also pop up those extra little pieces that are stuck inside too, and so that's a really great way to get your dies out, and I just love using this easy pokey tool. And then this little pickup end here is a wax tip that has just enough stick on it to pick up a piece, but when you add it onto adhesive, it'll stick down to the adhesive. And this is really great for those teeny tiny pieces that are hard to pick up with your fingers. And so here, when I'm going to add that little paw detail onto my fox hand there, I can add a little drop of glue, and then instead of trying to pick up a tiny piece with my fingers, I can pick it up with the pokey tool, or with the pickup part, the pickup tool, and then I can lay that right there onto the fox's paw. Now, if you need to change the wax tip end, you just have to unscrew it and then you can screw a new one right on. That being said, I haven't had to replace mine yet. These last a really, really long time, which is awesome. And I just love using this tool, especially for all of those teeny tiny pieces so I can make all my cute die cut characters. And so here is our Nordic Snowflake border. This is such a gorgeous border, and we're going to be using it on a couple of cards today. And then now we're going to take a look at the stocking die, and look how cute this stocking die is. It has the stocking and the little heel and the toe for the stocking. It has a cuff here, and then this little detail that you can add onto the cuff. It's got a little string to hang the stocking from, and then this little detail you can add with either jingle bells or pom-poms on it. And so this little snowflake detail, it just stitches little snowflakes into the cuff. So you can use it or not, depending on what look you're going for, but that little stitch detail is just so beautiful. And then here's a comparison to the plain cuff, and it just depends on the look that you want for your card. So now we can start to layer these pieces together. And the top of the stocking and the cuff for the stocking have a cut line in them so that you can tuck cute little things into the stocking. And so to line those up, you're just going to line up the 2 cut lines so that way you're able to tuck things in between the cuff and the stocking too. And so we can just take some tape runner on the back of this and then layer that piece on. Next, we can take the other details and add them to the stocking. So here we have the toe and then the heel for this. And here we're doing a traditional red and white, but I think this would be really, really cute cut out of pattern papers. I think it would just be adorable. Here is that little hanging end there. So we're going to add some adhesive on that and just add that into the top left-hand corner of the stocking. And that's the place where you hang the stocking. And then we have this cute little detail with this bow and different things that can hang off the bow. So you can hang these cute little jingle bells, which we've die cut out of some silver metallic cardstock. Or you can also hang these little white pieces here. These are little pom-poms, which is so cute. I also think it would be fun to get actual little tiny pom-poms and layer them onto there. Now to add these onto there, you can just add some adhesive, and you can either layer the jingle bells or the pom-poms onto that string, and then you can layer the string right there onto the stocking, and it is such a cute and sweet look. And in just a little bit, we're going to show you how to layer fun items into the stocking, and also how to add our brand new Build a Fox into the stocking too. But before we start with that, we're going to take a look at the String of Lights background stencil. So this is a 3-step stencil here, and we're going to start with stencil number 1. They're layered 1, 2, and 3 for all of the steps, and this is going to be the string here. And so we're using some celery stick ink here to just layer over all of these string parts. Now this stencil is a 3-step stencil, but you actually only have to do the first 2, or you can do the third one, which has these pine boughs. So I'll show you how there's different ways you can use the stencil. But here we're going to peel up our stencil and reveal the super cute string that we're going to add our lights onto. And then here you can see in the light stencil, which is number 2, there are etch guidelines which you can line up with those strings that we just stenciled. So it's really, really easy to line up. Now you could do all of these lights in one color, but what's really fun is to do the multicolored Christmas lights. And we're doing these with these little mini blending brushes and little mini ink pads because it's a lot easier to ink over them with the little tiny brushes. And you can see just how cute this is. So we're going to do a rainbow of lights, and I think it looks absolutely beautiful, and it's really, really fun to do too. So we've got our red, our orange, our yellow, our green, and we're working our way down the rainbow here, just picking out pretty colors of ink and that bright blue. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. And then of course we're going to add our purple. Now this stencil has these cute little stars in the background, like almost like they're little sparkles, and you can add those or not, but we decided to add some of those. So some of them almost look like little sparkles or little snowflakes, and we're going to add those on with some mermaid ink, which is a nice bright turquoise. And then there's some other little stars, and we're going to be adding those on with a different color. Of course you could just do the lights, or you can add these little sparkles. It just depends on the look that you're going for. And so for the other sparkles, we're going to be using some yellow. And so here we're going to have our big reveal, and look how beautiful this background is. I love those string of lights. I think they're so pretty. You could leave it just like this, or you can do step number 3, which also has the etched guidelines, which makes it really easy to line up. And that's going to add these fun little kind of like pine branches or pine boughs over the string of lights, and I think it is so pretty. The other thing that would be really beautiful to do is after you add all the color of the lights, to line up the stencil again and add some sparkle paste over top so that they all had a shine. But oh my gosh, look at that. Oh, it's just so beautiful. And since we have this gorgeous stencil background, we're going to go ahead and create a whole card with it. So here we're going to take out some of our gem watercolors here, and we are going to splatter all of these different colors of ink to create this beautiful rainbow background. And this was Rebecca's gorgeous idea, and I just love this rainbow splatter. It is just so much fun. So we're going to pick up some of that watercolor paint and then just tap the paintbrush. And right here we're tapping the paintbrush on the edge of an acrylic block, which gives it this nice even tap to create these beautiful splatters all around. And we're going to work our way through all of these colors so that there's these beautiful metallic shimmery splatters in the background of these lights. This is going to make them feel so special. And so now that we have all those beautiful splatters on there, we're going to set this aside to dry and work on our sentiment. And we're going to use the new Big Messages Christmas here. And we're going to prep our nice green cardstock here with an anti-static powder tool. And we're going to be stamping the Merry Christmas. And we're going to heat emboss it. And so we're going to use our Misty tool here. And we're going to go ahead and use some clear embossing ink. And we're going to add that all over our stamp. Then we can press down. And this is a nice sticky ink. So then we can sprinkle on some gold heat embossing powder over top, and the gold is going to look so beautiful and go so nicely with those splatters that we did on the string of lights background. We can top off the extra and then heat it up with the heat tool, and look how beautiful this is. I just love heat embossing. I never get over how magical and gorgeous it is. Now the Big Messages Christmas stamp set has a coordinating die that matches with it. It also matches with the 3-inch circle, which is awesome. But this die is so pretty. It's got the little scalloped edge and a little dotted detail. So we're going to line that up and run it through the die cut machine, and then add some foam squares on the back of this so that we can layer it onto our string of lights background. And isn't this just such a pretty card? It's quick and easy to do, and it is just so gorgeous. Now that we have this piece on there, we're going to take some All the Sparkles cardstock here, or pattern paper, and we're going to layer our whole stencil piece over top. And that green is so beautiful, and I also love that it's got some sparkle, just like our heat embossing and just like our splatters. And then here we have a standard size card base that's going to be 5.5 by 4.25. We can put some adhesive on that and then layer this whole piece on top. And now this card is all done. It is so beautiful, so sparkly, and using that stencil is such a blast. Next up, we are going to create a Christmas stocking card, but first we're going to use that Nordic Snowflake border to create a really cool background. And this is inspired by a card by Tammy, so thank you so much, Tammy. And so we went ahead and die cut the Nordic Snowflake border from mermaid cardstock, tide pool cardstock, and peacock cardstock. And we're going to add some liquid glue onto each of these and then layer them on this background. As we layer the next one, I'm just going to shift it over so that they're not lined up perfectly, so that there's kind of like this, almost like this little diamond pattern that's going to happen. And this is such a cool way to create a background. I love the Nordic Snowflake border because it almost acts like a little ribbon on cards. It adds a nice detail, or it can be a ground for a cute critter, or you can take it and create a really cool background too. So now that we've filled up our whole card base with these borders, we're going to take our scissors and just trim off any of the excess. And then I went ahead and die cut the largest of the stitched rectangle frames from some white cardstock. And I'm going to add some liquid glue to this and then layer this onto this background. And look how gorgeous that is. Oh my gosh, that would be beautiful with just one of those big messages sentiments too. But in this case, we are going to be creating a cute stocking. So this is the stocking that we created at the beginning of the video. And I thought it would be fun to fill it with the brand new Build-A-Fox. I'm in love with this fox. He is so cute. And both the fox and the bunny were designed to fit inside this stocking, which is so much fun. So I've die cut the pieces I need to make for the fox. And first I'm going to add some liquid glue on the back of the fox's face and then layer that piece that we've cut out of black licorice cardstock in the back to fill in the eyes and the ears. Then we can add some liquid glue onto the back of that and then layer that onto the base piece that's going to give us our nose and mouth. Then to fill in the nose, we're going to flip the fox's face over and just add some liquid glue around the nose. And there's a little circle there. I'm going to pick it up with my Pick Up Pokey tool and layer that circle in the background. And now that is going to fill in the nose for the fox too. Then we've got these cute little paws and we've got the little detail for the paws. And so I'm going to add some liquid glue on the end of each of the arms. And then we're going to layer the little paw detail right on top of that. Our Build-A-Fox and the Build-A-Bunny too have all of these cute outfits and accessories, and so we're going to be using some cute ones here. We're going to be using this adorable little snow hat beanie here from the winter accessories, and we've die cut that out of some Tide Pool and Mermaid cardstock, and so we're going to layer the detail onto the bottom of the hat and the little pom-pom to the back of the hat. And then we can add some liquid glue onto this and layer that right on top of the fox's head. And look how cute this fox is already. He is just looking adorable. Next, we're going to use the scarf die, and we're going to die cut that from some new All the Sparkles paper. And I love die cutting all the clothes from pattern paper because it makes me feel like a fashion designer. And so I chose this red stripe here for my scarf. And then I also die cut the sweater arms out of some peacock cardstock, and we're going to layer those onto the fox's arm so that it looks like he's wearing a sweater. We're not going to actually see the sweater because the fox is going to be tucked into the stocking, but I think it's super cute for his arms to have the little sweater pieces on them. And so now we're going to add some liquid glue to the bottom of the fox's face here so that we can layer him on to the scarf here. I'm not going to add the tail end for the scarf just yet because I'm going to see exactly how he's going to look when we put him in the stocking. And I wanted it to look like his paws were kind of overhanging the stocking and he was inside of it. So we're going to add some tape runner to the back of that scarf, and then we're going to layer the paws right there, and the adhesive is going to pick them up so that it looks like he's kind of dangling his paws over the edge of the stocking. And I like using the tape runner for this because if I didn't like the exact placement, I could move them around, but ended up looking really cute. So now we're going to add some more tape runner onto there and then layer him into the stocking like this so that it looks like his little paws are hanging out over the edge. And then now we can add that little tail end of the scarf there, and that way I can kind of see exactly what angle it should be at so that it's going to look super cute with his paws. And look at this. This just makes me smile. It is just absolutely adorable. Now here I used one of my mini snowflake dies here to die cut some pixie dust cardstock to add a little snowflake in the center of the stocking. I think a heart could be cute too, or a star. It's just fun to add a little extra detail onto the stocking there. And then here I'm going to take out a stamp set that has this really cute coordinating die that cuts an oval with a little dotted border, and we're going to ink up this oval. So here I'm using some kiddie pool ink, and then I'm going to make my way over to some mermaid ink because the kiddie pool was a bit too light. And so we're just going to add some darker color towards the middle and then lighter towards the outside edges so that it kind of fades into white. And then we're going to take some peacock ink here, and I'm going to smear it onto an acrylic block, spray a little water, mix it around to create a paint, and then we're going to tap some splatters onto this little background here. And this is just going to give it a little extra detail there. I had some really big splatters in the center, but that's okay because my fox is going to cover that one up. But the splatters just help it feel really, really pretty. And by using the peacock ink, it's going to coordinate so nicely with the peacock cardstock that we cut some of the Nordic border from. I let this dry for a second, and then we're going to flip it over and add some tape runner to the back, and then we're going to layer that right onto that beautiful piece that we created with that Nordic snowflake border, and that is just looking so beautiful. And then we're going to add some foam squares to the back of the entire stocking with our fox in it, and then we're going to layer that onto that oval, and that oval becomes such a nice little frame for this super cute little fox. that I wanted to add some white gel pen details to the fox and his clothes just to help him pop, and I feel like it brings out all the white details in that beautiful border too. And so I'm just going to add some rounded lines and little dots around the hat and the scarf on his ears and on to that awesome stocking too. Now for the sentiment, we're going to be using all the Santa hats, and it has this really beautiful scripty Merry Christmas. We're going to stamp in some clear embossing ink, and then we're going to sprinkle on some white heat embossing powder. We can top off any of the excess, and then we're going to go ahead and heat that up with the heat tool. Now this has a coordinating die that I love because it cuts it into 2 words. So we can line that up with our heat embossed sentiment here. We'll hold it in place with some low tack tape and run it through the die cut machine. And now we have these super cute words. And so I'm going to add some foam strips there to the back of these words, and we're going to layer that right underneath the stocking. And I love how the sentiment blends in so nicely with the background. It just looks so pretty. And now this card is all done, and adding the fox into the stocking made me smile so much. And next up, Chari has one of my favorite cards she's ever made. I love it so much. So take it away, Chari.
So the card I'm creating today was kind of inspired by a Christmas sweater that I have in my closet. I'm starting out with the new Nordic Snowflake border. I was just measuring it. It is 3/4 of an inch wide, and I'm going to cut some white strips of paper to layer behind it to create my borders. Now, I will say that I wish I had cut them just slightly shy of 3/4 because I do end up trimming them off a little bit. So maybe do as I say and not do as I do on this one. So I'm layering that white behind there with a little bit of liquid glue, and you can see how it just peeks up over the edge a little bit, but I am going to trim that off with my straight edge and my X-Acto knife. So I'm going to go ahead and trim the one that is not glued first. So just a sliver off. So that's why if I had cut it slightly smaller on my paper trimmer, I wouldn't have to do this step. But I thought I would leave this in so that you can see my mistake and not repeat it. So now that I've trimmed those down, I can glue the other one to the back of the other Nordic Snowflake border. And I just think these are so pretty right on their own. They make a beautiful card, adding this to any card. And these are wider than I need them, so that's why I'm not concerned about the fact that my white piece doesn't go all the way to the end. I will be trimming them down. I'm also using the new Village Hillside border, and I'm cutting this out of white. I'm going to have a border at the bottom of my card, and then I want my village right above that border. So I'm just laying this here as placement so I can figure out exactly where to cut my village. And this is 4¼ wide, which is going to be the width of my card because I'm making a portrait card today. So you can see now this border fits right under that village perfectly. For the background of my card, I'm using some Blue Jay cardstock, and I have some white splatter paint, and I am creating some snow for my background. The sentiment is the new Giant Be Merry, and I cut this from algae cardstock as well as some lime green sparkle, and I'm just layering them together to give them a little more stiffness because that sparkle cardstock isn't as stiff as our heavy cardstock, and this will allow me to put the foam adhesive on the back and pop that up really easy. So now I need to trim down my borders to 4¼ so they are the width of my card, and I am trimming them right through the middle of a snowflake. Then I can flip this over, measure to 4¼ and trim right through the middle of the other snowflake. I love how that worked out perfectly. And now you can see it doesn't matter that my white paper did not go all the way to the end, and I have a border for the top and a border for the bottom. I am going to go ahead and put this one on top of my piece of paper where my village is. And I will go ahead and add the blue piece of cardstock to a card base now that my white splatters are dry. And then I can add my village to the bottom. And I'm not filling in the doors and windows this time. I'm just going to let that dark blue cardstock show through those openings. I think this is a really great look just with that white silhouette on that dark background. Then I can add my other border to the top. And now my sentiment, which I put thin foam strips all over the back. And so now this can be popped up right above my village. And I just think this glittery sentiment is so pretty. I love the mix of fonts in the sentiment with the scripty B and then the letters for Mary. Now I cut the little bow and the jingle bells from the Christmas stocking die set, and I am adding this to the top. This is going to look like it's tied to the top of my card. I cut the bow from Pixie Dust Sparkle Cardstock, so it's white glitter, and then the bells are cut from number 2 pencil, so they're kind of darker yellow, kind of like a gold. And I'm just putting the ends of the strings through the top of the bell so that it gets kind of tucked behind the bell and it looks like they're hanging off the string. Now, of course, we need some snow. So what I did was I covered the whole hillside below my village with glue tube, and I am adding chunky glitter. We're going to have some glittery, chunky snow underneath this hillside village. I'm just using a little measuring spoon I keep on my desk for glitter and just tapping off the excess back into the jar. Now we have that beautiful glittery snow. So here is my finished card. I think that turned out so perfect. It's such a bold and bright Christmas card, and I just love all the colors. I love the border and the sparkly sentiment. It just turned out so perfect. So I have the Christmas stocking die set here that I'm using for my card. And then I want to fill my Christmas stocking. I have the cute candy canes. I also cut a little bit of the holly. And then I have the small gingerbread man from Gingerbread Friends. And I've already cut out my pieces here. Now I did use the new All the Sparkles Petite Paper Pack. You can see mine's getting well loved. I used these for the stocking, so I get that really fun striped stocking, and the toe is that teal color with the gold foil. I do need to do a little more die cutting here. I need to cut out the face on my gingerbread man. And also, there is a fun little snowflake detail that you can cut into the top of the stocking, and I'm going to add that as well. I used white wood grain paper for the top of my stocking here. And now I'm going to assemble my little gingerbread man. And I cut his little icing details from some pixie dust sparkle cardstock, so it is that white glitter cardstock. It looks like sugar to me. I have the 2 little details on the arms and the little squiggle of hair that's going to go on top of the head. And then I'm going to cut an extra piece of that same pixie dust sparkle cardstock just into a square that is going to fit behind the face. And this will fill in the face details in that same sparkle cardstock. So I'm just layering that on the back. And now we've filled in the eyes and the mouth. I have some little rosy cheeks there cut from ballet slipper cardstock that I'm just going to pop into place for some rosy cheeks. And for the buttons, I used the little hearts from guava cardstock. And I'm making sure they're a little bit high because we're going to tuck this gingerbread cookie into the stocking, and I want to make sure we see it. And of course, I'm making a little girl gingerbread today, so I added that little bow that's also cut from the All the Sparkles paper. Now for my candy cane, I cut the solid from guava cardstock and then the outline from that same pixie dust sparkle, so we have sparkle on our candy cane as well. Then I can layer on the details of my stocking, so I have the little toe and the heel. I like that these are cut from that paper with the gold foil, so it has some shimmer. And then I can add my little white detail at the top. And I want to make sure that little cut line lines up so that I have room to tuck my goodies inside. So I am going to go ahead and tuck the little gingerbread friend in here. And I'll just add a little bit of glue on the bottom of her feet to hold her in place. Then I can add my candy cane as well, and I will do the same once I figure out my placement. I'll add a little glue on the back just to tack this down into place. I also cut out 2 of the little holly bunches. This is from the Cute Candy Canes die set. I used peacock cardstock for these, and now I am blending on some rainforest ink to give them a little bit of shading. And I know this is not traditional green holly, but these colors really worked well with this card. And now I'm just adding a little bit of liquid glue so that I can tuck these holly sprigs into place. I'm not going to worry about the berries on these. I have enough pink going on and enough interest going on. I just wanted a little bit extra tucked into my stocking. So I will just tuck these in place and tack them down with glue. To finish off my little stocking, there is this little bow that is part of the Christmas stocking die set. And this is so we can hang some jingle bells. And I cut that little tie or that little bow from Storm Cloud cardstock and the jingle bells from Silver Sparkle cardstock. And I'm just putting a dot of glue on the back of the bell and I'm threading that string through the top of the bell so that it can be tacked onto the back so that they look like they're hanging from this string. This one I glued directly to the stocking, but this one's just going to kind of hang out until I get this onto my card. Now I'm using the reverse stitch scalloped rectangle window to create a frame with the all the sparkles paper. This is a piece of the 12 by 12 paper, so it has a bit bigger gold foil stars. And then for my background, I'm using a piece of Yeti spiffier speckles paper, and I'm going to do some very light stenciling just to give a little bit of texture and interest to the background. So I'm using peacock ink so it matches some of the colors in my die cuts, and I'm just giving it a little kiss of snowflakes on that background, just so it's not quite so plain. Then I can glue down my frame around this that I cut earlier, and then I will add this whole thing to a card base. For the sentiment on this card, I've cut a wavy banner out of ballet slipper cardstock. I'm using the wavy winter sayings for my sentiment, and I am going to stamp joyful wishes on this banner. I love this stamp set because all of these sentiments fit on this little banner, and there's lots to choose from, and they're perfect for a quick sentiment on a card. I've added foam squares all over the back of my stocking and all the goodies that I filled it with, especially one right on the back of that jingle bell that's hanging out. And now I can put this whole thing onto my card in the center of that frame. It's popped up off the background and has some really great dimension. Then I can just add my sentiment banner as well, and I'll just put some adhesive right through the center, stick this right onto my stocking, and I'm actually going to add one little foam square under the end of the banner over here because it's just kind of hanging out. And here is my finished Christmas stocking card. I love that you can fill this stocking with all kinds of different goodies and cut it from all kinds of different colors and patterned paper.
Oh my goodness, Shari, this is so cute. I love the stocking cut from pattern paper, and the little gingerbread man inside is just adorable. And then this card here, it's so bold and so beautiful. I can't wait to make one just like it. And next up, we have some incredible cards by the design team, and this one by Tammy is so adorable. She added our fox and also a cute candy cane and some little sprigs, and I think this is such a cute card, and I love the pattern paper that she cut the stocking from. Then this card here is so super sweet, filled with candy canes and little sprigs as well, and it has that awesome string of lights background there that is so beautiful. This card by Audrey just made me smile. I love the bright colors that she used for her lights. I can't wait to make one just like this. This card by Grace is so cute. I love the slimline card and the two different stockings and how she layered one with the Santa hat and then the other one has the elf hat. I also love the colors that she used and that gold metallic cardstock on the Be Merry too, and that little elf hat. Oh my gosh, look at that. Isn't that just adorable? This card here by Shari is so much fun. I love her stenciled light background and that giant Be Merry on there. And then here is the card by Tammy that inspired us to make ours, and I love that she put our cute Build a Snowman into the stocking. That is just too much fun. Here Elena got so creative and she turned our fox into a cute little elf. Isn't this so sweet? And I love the detail she added to the stocking. And then this card by Letitia is so fun, and I love how she die cut the stocking from some gold metallic cardstock. This card here by Megan is amazing. It's a pull and slide surprise, and as you pull the tab, you get the fun surprise of the Deck the Hall sentiment at the top and that season's greetings in the middle, and I love her stenciled background too. This card here by Rebecca is so cute, and she layered in some little peppermints and candy canes for such a cute look with those jingle bells. And then this card by Melissa is so fun. I love the background that she created in this super cute stocking too. So we cannot wait to see all of your stocking cards, so make sure to share them with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!